This is a 1953 Chevrolet 3100. It's a 5-window truck. It's still got the original push start on the floor. And we're going to take it for a quick spin. She's still a little cold. I just cranked her up some. The steering on this truck is actually fairly straight, a little bit less than normal wander in the steering wheel. Usually there's a little bit of play in the steering wheel on these old trucks. I'm holding my finger up there so you can kind of see I'm driving straight, seeing how much I'm adjusting. Usually I would be much more like this. I let go to do that. So it drives nice and straight. Got plenty of power. Actually brakes straight as well. Clutch feels real good. This little engine sounds like it just runs fantastic. Does not have emergency brake right now. And I don't know why that is, but so many of these guys do driver restoration on here, but they don't finish off the emergency brake. So that's not hooked up. The temperature gauge, I believe, does work. Oil pressure gauge definitely is working, as well as the battery gauge. I don't think that the fuel gauge is working, and I don't believe that the speedometer is working, although I think it's just disconnected, but you can see that the needle is off. It does have the electric wiper upgrade, which is really nice. That's actually an electric wiper kit. Let me let you take a listen at this engine. It doesn't smoke, starts very easily, runs strong. Like I said, you could hear when I first started driving it, just having to give it a little extra gas. It's just cold. Nice, healthy sounding 235 6-cylinder. And a real pretty engine detail too. I don't know if this is the original engine to the vehicle or not. I'm not advertising it as matching numbers. Definitely and obviously period correct. It does have upgraded to an alternator, which is nice. Firewall is all nice and rust free, as well as the inner fender wells. The frame is all rust free. This hood is nice and rust free as well. Overall, the body is very straight on this truck. And as typical, it looks a little better in the pictures and probably video than it's going to look in person, but it's a really good looking truck. I'll do one quick walk around, and then I'll show you a little bit more detail. So it's got just a touch of metallic in this blue, and I would call this like a farm truck quality paint job, driver quality, you know, amateur driver quality paint job. Beautiful truck at 20 feet. We might call it a 20-footer, maybe even a 10-footer. I'm standing maybe about 10 feet away with the camera right now. And if I walked up on this truck in the parking lot, I would say, this is a good looking truck, you know, good looking driver, but definitely not a show truck. As we get close up on it, you'll notice just that the paint's not perfect. It's a driver. It's got a couple of little imperfections in it here and there, and that's going to be consistent all the way over the truck. But the paint color is consistent from bumper to bumper, and that's nice. Nice, clean bottoms of the doors. Cab corners are in good shape. A little bit of Bondo there in the cab corner. This fender on this side's got a few little dings in it. Another thing too is when they put the bed back on, they cut the they actually, usually you use like a rubber grommet to put the bed back on, but a lot of guys put wood blocks in there. They actually cut this wood block in the front 1 inch too long. And if you're real picky and you look at it real close, you'll notice the bed sits 1 inch too high in the front. At first glance, it's not noticeable, but because I'm pointing it out, you'll notice that. It's not super hard to fix. I just personally didn't want to mess with it, and I don't know if the next guy's going to want to mess with it or not, but I figured, you know, there's always leaving a little bit of a project for the next guy. Something to do. Tailgate on the truck looks really good, as well as inside the bed. All the insides of the bed are actually pretty much dent free, which is nice. Rails look real clean, as well as the wood. Really nice looking wood bed. Fender over here looks a little bit nicer than the other side. A couple of little dings here. Matching spare tire. And actually, yeah, all 5 tires match, and they're pretty much new. You'll notice that this has actually still got the little nipples on it. It's got new center caps and beauty rings, and shows really nicely. Step ups are in good shape overall, as well as the bottoms of the doors, and this cab corner over here is in good shape too. And this front fender over here looks nice and straight. The grill is you know, driver quality, and if you wanted it to look perfect, you want to blast it down and repaint it. But it's there and it looks good. The vent works, and you can also see that the top is in good shape and all nice and straight. Glass appears to have been replaced at some point, not too long ago. I can't say when for sure, but the glass looks good, and the main thing that makes me think that is the weather stripping, because it looks really good. And one thing that also looks nice is the fact that looks like they took the glass out before they painted it, and then put it back on, so you don't see any paint on the weather stripping. It appears that all the glass has been replaced during some old restoration. And this truck, I'm not exactly sure, but it looks like something that was maybe restored 10 or 12 years ago, but kept in the garage and kept nice. The interior is in good shape. Seat cover is new. Dash is in awesome condition. If you look really closely, you can see that they did do a little filler patch there where the radio would be. It's got the original steering wheel and the horn even works, and it's really loud. It's got a new rubber floor mat that looks really nice, and even got this operator's manual for 1953 Ford truck, which is kind of cool. I just tucked it in there so we wouldn't lose it. Floor pans look pretty good. They've got a bunch of padding on them, so we'll take a look at those floor pans from underneath. It's gonna be hard to see them from up here with the jute padding and the rubber mat on there. So this truck is not 100% rust free, but it's very close. I call this a very minimal rust truck, and I don't buy trucks like this that are super rusty. So we're gonna go looking for rust now. Inner fender well looks really good all the way around, and this is a typical rust spot down here. And almost all these trucks that I get in this price range, there's a little bit of rust right there. So that's one spot. Other than that, the rest of the inner fenders look really, really good. As we get underneath it, the step-ups are in great shape and there's no rust on them. Of course, when I say that, I mean there's superficial surface rust. So when I say no rust, that's what I mean. I've gotten a little bit of criticism from a couple guys. Well, there's surface rust on there. Well, okay, I get that, and that's not what we're talking about. Battery's been moved up to the top. The whole battery box is not in bad shape, but it's got a couple little rusty spots on it. It's an easy fix if you want to put a new one. But you'll notice in here, these are the original floor pans. This is why I said let's make sure we take a good look at the floor pans. Original floor pans, and they're in great shape. It's also got a new fuel tank and new fuel line, so you can see that. Again, here too, access panel for the transmissions, all in great shape. So this really impressed me about the truck. Another thing too is, I'll get over here, that these are the original cab corners and the interior cab corners, and they don't have rust in them. To me, that's a really big deal. Inside, the step up on this side too. Step up flare there is all rust free. Let's go over to the other side and examine it. And this side does not have the rust that the other side has. So this is nice, clean inner fender well all the way around with no rust. Step up on this side as well, appears to be original and rust-free condition. Again, floor pan over here. A couple of small holes there that look like they've had a tiny bit of filler, but nothing that's worth cutting out, you know, tiny little holes. And then again, original floor pan, original cab corner, and take a look at the condition of that. I'm trying to let the camera adjust. It takes a second sometimes. There we go. It's got like 3 little holes smaller than a pencil. I don't even think you could stick a pencil in those. That's the original cab corners. Those look freaking awesome. So this impresses me, and honestly, now that we've gone looking for rust, I can see, aside from that one hole over there, this truck's pretty clean. Bottoms of the doors are in awesome condition. A couple of tiny little holes. There's one little hole there, a couple of tiny little holes there. Those are the little brackets for the step side. Other than that, this is a nice clean inner fender well. This truck is really overall in awesome condition. A couple of spots there of rust, and actually those holes are made to hold that fender well on. And the reason that they're not bolted to the fender, those holes on the fender well are made to hold the step side, is what I meant to say. And the reason they're not bolted on there is because that bed's got that little gap right there. So here you have it. And I don't think I actually showed this side of the cab, but the cab's in awesome condition. This is a beautiful truck. I love these trucks. 5 windows seem to be a little harder and harder to find. I keep finding lots of 3 windows. When I'm fortunate to get my hands on a 5 window, I love them. Honestly, they're bringing about 20% more. So yeah, the price on this truck might be, with this identical truck in a 3 window, might be $2,000 cheaper. But in my opinion, it's worth spending the extra couple $1,000 and getting the 5 window. They're awesome. They don't have the blind spot in them that the 3 windows have. Just really, really love the way they look. And this one's really ready to go. This one's driver ready. The lights work, brake light, tail light works, and it's all there. You know, maybe a couple of little things, like I said, just a couple of little, maybe tiny projects, Saturday afternoon projects here or there. This truck is really ready to drive and enjoy.